Rhino here, and this is going to be the first part of hopefully a very long series. It's going to be added to my course. This is part one of 2 videos on supply and demand. This video I'm going to teach you how to draw supply and demand and explain just the general concept behind it. In the second video I'm going to teach you guys how to actually play a supply and demand setup. So first of all, what supply and demand is. So supply and demand, essentially what we're trying to target is unfilled institutional buy or sell limit orders. So we know that people like you and me, we don't move the market. We don't have enough share and equity in these stocks to actually see an actual movement in the stock when we buy or sell. So what we're trying to target is these unfilled limit orders from institutions so that we can ride on the wave that they're creating. So in supply, we're targeting unfilled sell limit orders from institutions. So we're going to try to find places in supply where we expect a sell-off, and we try to get in on that wave while they ride it down due to the sell-off. Same with demand. We're expecting unfilled buy limit orders. So we're trying to get in as soon as we see that there could be a potential buy in that area, and we want to ride it all the way up. So how do we draw supply and demand? There's 2 different types of supply and demand. There's one that's engulfing. I'm sure that we all know what engulfing candles are. It's like this right here, these 2 candles, where one candle fully engulfs the candle behind it. So that's an engulfing, let's see, that's an engulfing, where else do we have engulfings? I'm sure most of you understand it, but I just want to show you guys examples. That's engulfing. It's when the candle fully encloses the body of the other one. So when we're talking about engulfing, we're only talking about the bodies, not the wicks. And then what we're going to start off with right now is a standard demand zone. So I'll do demand and then explain supply. So when we're looking for demand, what we're looking for is a small red basing candle like this. So we're looking for a small red basing candle with a green candle body being at least 2 times bigger. So if we take our measuring tool right here, always have magnet mode on when you're drawing these zones so you get the most accurate depiction of the zones. You're just going to measure if it's close. These aren't close, we can tell, but I just want to show you guys how you do it. So you're going to take it from the bottom of the body to the top. You see that it's a $5.72 move up in the body, and then the small red candle, it's only a 0.67, so that's definitely 2 times bigger. So that's what we're looking for, 2 times bigger. Green for demand, we're looking for a basing red for demand, and then a big green candle. So that's our standard demand. So how to draw it, you go from the open of the basing red candle down to the low of the basing red candle and draw it out. And then since we're on the 1-day time frame, that becomes our 1-day demand. So right here, we have another one already. This is definitely 2 times bigger. This candle barely has a body, and this one certainly does. So this is 2 times bigger, so we go from the open of the red candle down to the low. It's still a 1-day demand since we are on the daily time frame. So 1-day demand. Let me just hide my indicators. Oh, it's drawings. Alright, so 2 1-day demands, still looking. Here we go. We can measure it to be safe. Body, negative 0.87. Doesn't really matter negative or positive, it's just the body size. And then 2.69, so it is 2 times bigger. So we go from the open of the red candle back down to the low. So I'm just going to do this a few more times to make sure that we fully understand the point. So right here, this doesn't look 2 times bigger. We can measure it just a check, 1.96 and 1.39. So it is not 2 times bigger, the body of the green of the basing red. So it's not a valid demand zone for a standard demand. So now keep looking. Here we go. This one does look 2 times bigger, so we only care about the bodies when we're doing this. This is 7.71, the size of this green body, and then negative 2 on this red body. So you go from the open to the low of the red basing candle, 1-day time frame. This becomes our 1-day demand. So now Supply is essentially the same, just in the opposite direction. So for supply, we look for a small green basing candle and a big red body following it. So we have right here, this is negative 0.65 and negative 2.59, so it is 2 times bigger. So now we just do the same thing in the opposite direction. We go from the open of the green basing candle this time to the high of the green basing candle, and we draw it out, and still we're on the 1 day, so this becomes our 1 day supply. So now we look for more red. Here we go. This could potentially be one. We have to measure it since it's close. Negative 3.83 and negative 8.24. So that is not 2 times bigger, so it is not a zone. Right here, small green body, big red, don't even have to measure it, definitely 2 times bigger. Take our box tool, go from the open of the green basing candle to the high, and draw it out. Look at how many times that rejected. 1 day supply. So essentially you're just going to go through all the time frames and do this all the way down from the daily to the 30-minute. So I go all the way from the day to 30-minute. I draw out the zones like that. And now that we learned how to draw it standard, I'm going to teach you guys the one other type of demand zone, demand and supply zone. So the one other one is an engulfing. Any engulfing candle sequence I consider to be a demand or supply. So let's try to find one right here. We'll start off with the supply. So if a red candle fully engulfs a green candle, you take your drawing tool, you go from the open of the green basing candle still for supply, but this time you go to the highest of the 2 points in the 2 candles. So right now this would be right up there, and this becomes a 1 day supply. Look at how many times that rejected. So now you just continue to look for, well, since that's the high, there's technically not going to be any more. But so now you just look for engulfings as well when you're doing this. So let's see if you can find any engulfing candles. No. So there's no more engulfing supplies. So now we go to demand. We're looking for a green body this time, fully engulfing a red body, a red basing since it's demand. So we're going to go, this technically would have been a zone at the time, but it works the same way for demand. You go from the open of the red basing, but this time to the low of the 2 points. So right here, but if we were to drag this out, you see that it essentially ended up breaking the demand zone, what would have been a demand zone. So this would have been a 1 day demand based on these 2 candles, but later on it broke it. And as soon as we break a demand or supply, we're forced to delete it because the zones are trying to target in potential limit order. So if it already went through all of it, that means it had every chance it needed to find one of those limit orders, and they just weren't there. So we have to delete the zone. So now we continue to look back for more zones. I think this is engulfing. Looking for engulfing right now. Here we go, engulfing demand. So we go from the open of the red basing candle down to the low point of the 2. This becomes our 1 day demand. So when it's engulfing, it does not matter the size that it's engulfing by. It could be engulfing by 1 penny on each side, or it can be engulfing by like this much. It doesn't matter the size of the bodies when it's engulfing. It's always a zone when it's engulfing. So here we go, another engulfing. We go from the open of the red candle down to the low point of the 2. So that would be right here. This becomes a 1 day demand since we're still in the 1 day time frame. See how it bounced there. Keep looking. Keep looking. Can we find any more engulfing demands? Oh, here we go. Engulfing demand, green's engulfing red. Go from the open of the red basing candle still, but still we go down to the lowest of the 2 points, the 2 candles, since it's an engulfing demand. So that would be right there. Draw it out. 1 day demand. So now you go through all of these. I'm just gonna go through a bunch of zones so you guys understand how to draw them. So I'm just gonna chart this up quickly. So looking for zones. Is this 2 times the size? 4.44 and 11. So this red candle is 2 times bigger than the green one. So we have a standard supply. Open of the green basin candle all the way to the high of the same candle. We don't go to the high of the 2 since it's not engulfing. That's only for engulfing. So now we go 1 day supply. Keep looking. No more supplies. So now we go to demand. See if there's any more demands that we missed. Right here. I'm not sure if this is a demand actually. 1.21 and 2.54. So it is a demand. So standard demand, open of the red basin candle down to the low of the red basin candle. 1 day demand. Keep looking. Here we go. Is this body 2 times bigger? 1.68 and 2.86. So it is not 2 times bigger, so it's not a demand. Keep looking for more zones. Here we go, engulfing. So we go from the open of the red basin candle down to the low point of the 2 candles this time. So this candle went lower, so we go to that wick. 1 day demand. Is this engulfing? Yes, it is. So we go from open of the red basin candle down to the low point of the 2. Becomes our 1 day demand. Keep looking. Here we go. This body is negative 4.95. This one's 1.27. So the body is definitely 2 times bigger. So you go from the open of the red basin candle down to the low of the red basin candle. 1 day demand. Engulfing right here. So we go from the open of the red basin candle down to the low of the 2 candles. So that would go right there. 1 day demand. Here we go. I think this is another zone. What is that? Oh, couldn't see it. 7.79 and 2.05. So it's 2 times bigger. The body's 2 times bigger. Open of the red basin candle down to the low. 1 day demand. So now here we go. 2 times bigger. The body. This body is 1.03. This one is 4.59, so it's definitely bigger, 2 times bigger. Open of the red basin candle to the low. Let me draw it out. So what you're going to do is you're going to go through your entire chart that you're charting, all through the daily time frame down to the 30-minute, and you're just going to graph these out and drag them out. So once you graph them, you drag them out, drag it out. But we see that this 1 day demand was broken, so we're forced to delete it. This one, if we were to drag it out, broken, so we have to delete it. So now we'll go down to the 4 hour just so we get it fully engraved in our head how these work. So right here, small red basin body, red basin candle, explosive green candle, check the body sizes. Negative 0.32 and 3.22. So it's definitely bigger. So it's a standard demand. Open of the red basin candle down to the open of the red basin candle down to the low. 1 day demand. Here we go. Definitely 2 times bigger. The body, red basin candle, green candles. The body's 2 times bigger. So we have a standard demand. Well, actually, I think this is engulfing. I stand corrected. So this is engulfing. So it's a zone no matter what. Open of the red basin candle down to the low point between the 2 candles. ends up being the red basing candle anyways. 4-hour demand, since we are on the 4-hour time frame. Oh, I accidentally labeled this one day. This is a 4-hour demand. So now we keep looking. We have demands right there. Here we go. We have an engulfing, a bearish engulfing sequence right here. Red candle fully engulfs the green candle. So we go from the open of the green basing candle down to the up to the high point of the two candles, which is right here. So 4-hour supply. Now keep looking, keep looking. Red body's 2 times bigger than the green basing candle body. So now we go open of the green basing candle up to the high. It's a 4-hour supply. Keep looking for zones. Here we go. Red body is 2 times bigger than the green basing candle body. Standard supply. So we go from the open of the green basing candle to the high point. Draw it out. 4-hour supply. Now, this is engulfing, so it's a zone. So we go from the open of the green basing candle to the high point of the two candles, which happens to be right here by like a penny. Draw it out. 4-hour supply. So now you continue to draw these out for every time frame going down to the 30. And once you have it fully drawn out, it will you'll have a bunch of zones like this, like my SPY chart. You're just going to have a bunch of zones stacked up on each other. And then once we get all this drawn out, we can begin to learn how to play them, which I will explain in the next video. So if you have any questions about this, I have made a slideshow currently. So we have a full slideshow on how to trade it, but then we have how to draw it. And I basically recap everything I went over, how to get the tools to draw it, and how do we draw them, each different one in specific. So if you have any questions or need to reference back to these, you can check the slideshow. And I hope you guys learned something from this, and have a great day.